On the Mbuemo stuff, this is very real. If you were worried that, Ben Jacobs and Alex Crooks, talk sport, is it how real is it? I'll wait. Lots of different outlets are all now saying the same thing. So first of all, hat tip to Ben Jacobs and Alex Crooks, because they were the first to report this story. And when people are first and they get it right, they deserve the credit. Absolutely. So Ben Jacobs and Alex Crook said that Manchester United have held talks with Bryan Mbeumo. Brentford value him at around £50 million. Now, as I mentioned, several other outlets then confirmed that Manchester United are indeed interested in him. Chris Wheeler from the Daily Mail saying Manchester United are pursuing an interest in Brentford's Bryan Mbeumo this summer. They have held initial talks with his camp, echoing what Crook and Jacobs had said there. Rob Dawson also, as part of his piece last night about United agreeing this deal with Delap and his representatives and Ipswich, said that Manchester United are interested in Bryan Mbeumo, but also Fleck suggested that Manchester United are also interested in Eberechi Eze. It's a name we've been linked to in the past. It's going to be a tough one because I think he, along with a couple of players at Crystal Palace, was earmarked to be possibly leaving this summer, but now winning the FA Cup, being in the Europa League, suddenly that changes a lot of things, and maybe Eze doesn't go, doesn't leave the club. I mean, he's become a Crystal Palace legend, scoring the FA Cup final, winning the FA Cup. He might want an extra year to go on that European adventure, etc. So that one becomes very different because last season, it was him and Elise. They both might be leaving, and the thought was that Eze could end up going to Spurs. That one, of course, didn't end up happening. And now, I know Spurs are in the Champions League, but given all the chaos there, he might actually be better off staying at Palace for another year and then seeing how things go. I saw there were also quite soft links with him and Bayern Munich, suggesting that due to the success of the Elise deal, they might be like, we'll bring Eze in. The Eze one, I just think is going to be maybe a bit too tough for us to pull off, and also I don't think he's got a release clause as far as I'm aware. I'm not sure. No, I mean, if we could get him, I'd be really up for that. But I still would probably lean towards the Mbuemo one because he's just goal scorer, and again, we need goal scorer.
Yeah, I think it's goals. Yeah, I think because we now have Cunha, it changes. So Eze, listen. Brilliant player. Would walk in and start into our team. Absolutely. But with what we're trying to go after and what we already have, the left hand is Cunha. That's Eze's position, right? He's more comfortable. That's his position. And Mbeumo is a right-sided player. Yes, a right winger, but inside 10, right wing. You can tell he's good enough to be able to mix it up and change it. He's 25, so he's a year younger than Eze. Eze's about to turn 27 in June. Yeah. Obviously some injury issues there as well. Mm-hmm. Less so this year. I was just looking at his because like I say, it's easy to run with fake narratives with injuries because sometimes you can remember a player as just being injured, but until you look at the numbers of what this actual season was, you can get misled. Sorry. He may miss 5 games through injury this year, so that's not bad considering like where he has been at. Little niggly ones, but even last season, even though this is a player that we're saying is notorious for having injuries, the season before he missed 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, about 12 games last season, and the season before that he had one big injury in his Achilles and he missed 12 games. So he's had one big injury, then some niggly ones. But even me, I'm like, yeah, usually he's quite injury prone, but he only missed 5 games last season, so that's a good return for him. And then the 2 seasons before that, he missed 12 and 12. So that's where it's like 12 games a season is probably a bit much. But this season only missed 5. But yeah, I just think for us, Mbeumo is the better option, definitely. I would say because we have Cunha, like that's a big difference. Like you've got Cunha in your bag, and if you're honest, in terms of left 10s or 10s in the league, like we've just bought one of the best players in the league. Like we actually have, like, because we're shit and it's like we can't get the players and we're this, that, and the third. In terms of actual players in the league, and you go, he's up for nomination for Team of the Year. Like he's one of the best players in the league, and he was last year as well. Do you know what I mean? The season before last, in the 23-24 season. So that counts for something. He's a very good player. So I want to ask you this though, and what do you guys think about this? because Mbeumo, someone just said they're putting Mbeumo in the 9. We have to, he can play up front. He can play up front.
Multifunctional, isn't it?
He's played in a 2 up front with Wissa. He's played as a 1 when he's had to. Obviously, when Ivan Toney was there, mostly it's mainly him. But there's games where he's had to play up front. He's multifunctional. And also, but people were saying this. I saw a couple of fans accounts that were kind of going back and forth in a good way. It was a good discussion. I was just reading a thread of responses. And somebody said, I don't think Mbeumo, they put it a bit negatively because it looked like a bit of a poo-poo parade. But if I just take the footballing context, he was basically saying, I don't know if Mbeumo is the right player to get because we have Ahmad. And if you've got Ahmad at right wing back and you've got Mbeumo as right 10, they're very similar. You need like proper 6 and a proper right-sided centre back if you're going to have them to attack in that way. And this other account was basically saying, well, that's what the Ruben thing is, the overloading of those attacking players when it's right. And yes, you need a combative. That's why we need a combative central midfielder, and you need a combative right centre back who can cover that space because those two are going to go attack. But I wanted to ask you guys here, and you, Owen, like, do you think, obviously we get excited to say Mbeumo, but actually for balance, if you've got Ahmad right wing back and then Mbeumo, or no, because you're going to have Dallo some games, it might be all right.
If we can get this signing done, I think it's a really big deal. I think, like I said, you've got goals this season, and I think he's ready for a step up. When Ivan Toney left Brentford, there was this almost idea that effectively Brentford, I wouldn't be shocked if they get relegated next season because they're Ivan Toney FC. Basically, he just scores all their goals. Look at what it was like when he obviously he was banned for the gambling thing, and Brentford really struggled that season, didn't they? And then he came back, and But this season, though Ivan Toney and Mbuemo scored goals, like you said, can play in the right 10, can play as a striker, which I think is critical too. If it is tight financially after doing some of those other deals, they might look at Mbuemo a bit of a Mazraoui when it was like, well, we're bringing him in for this position, but he can also play this, that, and this position. That means we've got more depth in the squad. So I think we could see situations where Mbuemo plays up front. And
he's played 6 games up front this season.
And I think
just he had to, you know what I mean? But
and
mainly,
I think
obviously,
critically as well, off the ball, he works hard. You don't in those Thomas Frank teams.
Very hard.
In those Thomas Frank teams, you have to off the ball do a lot of work. And obviously, we're so used at United in recent years to our strikers or forward players off the ball. Yeah, sometimes they'll press, sometimes they won't. Sometimes they'll come back, sometimes they won't. And Mbuemo, he's a system player, he's a team player. Off the ball, he'll work, which I think will be important too, because Ahmad, when he's playing right wing back, defensively, that's going to be the difficult part, right? Obviously, we know him going forward, he's good, and we know his work rate's good. But
he works hard defensively.
He's just going to need the support. He'll need the support, which
and to be fair to Ahmad, the change we've seen in him, or the adaptation we've seen from him when he has played right wing back, he doesn't look left on an island every time. I'll tell you what, because we're quite compact, and there's, 5 other defenders on the pitch at the time when he plays there or whatever. It's like he is quite protected. It is all right. I haven't seen him because I worry for him, Jeff, sort of thing. If he's got to go up against like Matoma or Anthony Gordon, other left wingers, that you think, what's that going to be like? But you see him even the other day against Rodgers was trying to bully past him. He got his body there, got the ball back, ran it back up the other side. He's quite physical, Ahmad, for how little he is. Like he's he's deceptively strong. And defensively, those disciplines, it isn't like, Ahmad, mate, whenever he plays there, it's like he's way too high, gets caught out, running back towards goal, like that running back, I'm out of position. It doesn't tend to happen because, again, we've been so conservative as well. We don't, apart from the Forest counter-attack and stuff, that Ten Hag, what was happening when he was there, we were just open like anything, getting carved apart, running back towards goal. That doesn't tend to happen anymore because we've got more defenders and we play about 5.
Not as much. Happen. Yeah, definitely not as much. Yeah.
So to be fair, I hear that. Mbeumo, for me, again, I'm just looking at the numbers and looking at the facts. I'm just looking at his whole career. Yes, mainly I'm looking at, when on Transfer Market, you can see all the positions he has played in his career. Left wing, second striker, attacking mid, centre forward, right wing, right midfield, left midfield. So like Owen said, he's a system player. Yes, most of his 163 of his appearances have been as a right winger, but 42 has been playing as a second striker. 30 of them have been as a main striker. 20 of them have been as a right midfielder. 6 have been as a left midfielder. So it's whatever you need from him, you can clearly see he's adaptable. It's just that they settled on you're the right winger at Brentford now because we've got you, Vissa, Toney, you'd be on the right. That's fine. So I'm here for it. And actually, obviously, yes, Fleck Mbuemo and all that, the little kind of thing. It'll be amazing if he came. But just as him as a player, I really like him. And we can't rule out with this team. That's another thing. We're thinking quite tunnel vision because we obviously just want to fix the individual problems. We're not thinking about adaptability. Someone put up a thread on Joshua Zirkzee yesterday. Obviously, threads and comps, it's like, oh, whatever, man, I've seen it. But even as before, towards him getting injured, we did start to see, didn't we? We started to see, actually, if there's a lot of things around him, he can make the ball stick, he can work. So what I was going to say is we're not thinking that, like, yeah, Liam Delap could come in, but there's going to be games where Zirkzee plays up front. There's going to be games where maybe Mbeumo could play up front. Maybe Acuna could go up there. Like, it's not as rigid and as like
and not, like you said, not even like that where it's like, okay, this player's starting here, where it's just like during the game, take it in turns, right? Who's playing up front? Oh, Zirkzee, you're playing up front. 10 minutes, you drop back into the right 10, and Mbeumo will go up front for 10 minutes. Just gives defenders something else to think about. Acuna, all right, you're going to switch from Mbeumo, or you can have that rotation a bit like I'm very risky to say this because obviously these three were very successful together up front. But when people had those Salah, Mane, Firmino.
Hold on, wait a minute, Owen. Wait a minute. Are you saying
exactly?
Wait a minute.
So you're saying definitely not. But as you can,
actually better than Firmino, confirmed.
But when you've got those, when you've got three players that are like that, you can interchange. You can, obviously spin around. So that's really positive. That's why I like the Mbeumo one. And also, this is when, because we see more obviously Premier League games than we see with other games. If we were getting a player from a mid-table Serie A side or a mid-table La Liga side, and you got up his stats and said this season he's got 20 goals, X amount of assists, you'd be like, bring him in, bring him in. Bring him in. It's only because obviously we see it and we're like Brentford. Oh no, we've got to get Premier League proven players. So again, if we get this one, if we signed Mbuemo and Cunha and add that into our attack, I mean, again, I know football doesn't work like this, but you're adding goals.